Today we're going to be drawing a snowman, and so you're going to need a blue sheet of paper. Construction paper is great, and you can either use chalks, but it needs to have a white chalk in it and a blue chalk for sure. But multicolored chalks are great for this. And here's my little smaller pack of chalk, but you would need to have a few more colors than this box has. A paper towel or like a tissue would be great. And if you don't have those but you want to use chalk pastels, these are well loved, as you can see. But chalk pastels will work great. They're just a little bit messier, but you can easily wash your hands when you're done with the project. So the first thing that we're going to do on the blue paper is we're going to draw a horizon line about 2/3 of the way down from the top. And it can be just a wavy, kind of curvy horizon line. And then from the left side, if you'll draw some horizontal lines, they do not need to be perfectly straight at all. And try not to wrinkle your paper, but if you do, just straighten it back out. And you can just bring your horizontal lines across to about midway. And then just take your finger or your tissue if you would rather and just blend all that together. So we've talked about blending a little bit this semester, and it can be used for shading or for things like this. And if you just keep your sleeves up, you won't get it on your sleeves. Just work on top of your table or your surface, and you shouldn't get too terribly messy, and then you can just wash your hands at the end and not worry about it too much. The next step is to draw the bottom of the snowman, and so air drawing it, we're going to come into this area right here. So a little bit into the snow area and a little bit above it. Just draw a circle. And if it's a little bit loppy-jawed, you can straighten it out if you would like. And then do the same thing with the horizontal lines on the left side of the snowman's body, the bottom part of its body. And then blend that in. And you want to keep your blending inside of this shape. Don't let it go outside the shape too much. But if you do, you could take a tissue or a paper towel and just kind of wipe it off a little bit. Okay, so that's the bottom part of the snowman's body. Then we're going to draw the middle part. So this circle is going to be a little bit smaller than the big one. A good bit smaller, but not tiny. So this is the midsection. And then the same thing is going to happen with the blending. So we want some horizontal lines on the left side. And you can think about your light source being on the top left, coming down from the sky. That's why we're going to leave this other side a little bit darker. And when we get to the other side, you will see. And then draw a small circle for the head on top of that middle size circle. And same thing again. Do some horizontal lines and then shade them in. Okay, so we have the basic snowman shape, and we have half of the snow on the ground. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put the white down for a moment. We'll come back to the white, and we're going to pick up the dark blue. So if you're using pastels, you know, even if it's a tiny chunk like I have, that's fine. Or if you are using your regular chalk and you have a blue in your chalk set, it would be good if it was a dark blue, but blue will show up even on blue paper. And then I am going to color that area that we did not put the white into. And I'm not trying to get it real perfect yet because we're doing the same thing with the smudging or the blending. Okay, I'm going to put my blue down for just a minute, and I'm just going to blend that. You don't have to bring it real far into the white because we want the white to stay that color and be bright. And this is just its shadow on the right side. So now you have the shadow on the right side and the bright side over here. Well, what is causing it to be bright on that side? Let's pick the white back up again, and let's do a smaller circle in the sky, smaller than the snowman's head, and you just keep blending it around like that. And then this time we're going to add a little bit of yellow because this is going to be the moon, the full moon at night. And then I'm just going to blend that. Now, if you have blue on your fingertips, you might want to use your non-dirty finger to do this so it doesn't turn green. And I even kind of let it go outside of that because when you look at the moon, you can see a halo around it usually at night. So I like the way that looks, but if it gets too yellow, you can always go back in with a little bit of white in a circular motion just to brighten it back up. So I like the halo around my moon, and if it got messy, I'm just going to take a little piece of my paper towel. I'm just kind of wrapping it around my finger a little bit, and I'm just going to use this like an eraser to kind of clean up any little smudges that I didn't really want there. It's not too terrible though. Okay, so we're going to start on the snowman's face. So if you'll use black, hopefully you have black, and do 2 eyes on the snowman's head, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 little circles or little marks for the mouth. So that's his eyes and his mouth. You could give him a smile if you would like. And then I'm going to wipe my fingers a little bit because they're a little bit messy. Use the paper towel or a tissue. You don't have to stop and wash your hands, but just wipe it off a little. And then I'm going to take orange and I'm going to give him his carrot nose. And you can just do like a triangle shape. I don't have a whole lot of room for that little carrot shape, but there it is. A little bright orange carrot shape nose. And then one more time with the black, I'm going to add the buttons for his clothing. So 3 buttons on the middle section. I think my snowman needs arms, so I'm going to start about midway down or even just a tad bit lower. And I'm going to draw 2 stick arms coming out, and then just some little stick fingers. Maybe 2 or 3 of those would be good. And these are sticks, so you know, they don't have to be exactly straight. And then I think I want my snowman to have a scarf on. So I'm choosing red, but you can do any color scarf. And the shape that you can do is sort of like this. We're going to let the wind be blowing. So I'm going to swoop that scarf shape out, and then I'm going to turn it into somewhat of a rectangle shape. And he's wearing a red scarf. So it's in this area around his neck coming out, and then I'm going to do another one coming down so that it's tied on, you know, like a scarf would be tied up around his neck. And try to control your marks since that's such a bright color. And if you wanted to put a design on the scarf, you could. I think I'm just going to leave this one red. And then the snowman's hat, I think since I have a blue background, I'm going to use the complementary color of orange. So I'm going to give him a toboggan. And that's going to be a curved line on the crown of his head. And then we're going to let it come over into a curved little triangle shape with a ball on the end. And then I'm going to just kind of roughly color that in because I'm going to blend another color into it, which is going to be this kind of light yellow color. And I'm not worrying about my fingers so much because I know I can wash them later, remember. And then I'll take a clean finger, in this case it's my pinky, and I'm just blending that all in, and that gives it a little more pizzazz or a little more depth when you blend it together with another color like that. And I like that color. So we're gonna put a cast shadow. Remember, the cast shadow is the shadow underneath an object on the ground that the object is sitting on. And so we're gonna go back to dark blue again. And what shape is the snowman's body? Well, it's round, so that's the shape that my shadow also needs to be, and it's the moonlight, so I don't want this to get really big, and it needs to be a little more out to the right side because the moon is on the left, so the shadow on the ground would be opposite the moonlight. Okay, so I just kind of scribbled that in, and then I'm just going to do the blending again with my fingertip. And I had a little bit of a dirty finger, but it blends pretty well. That blue kind of holds its own in this case. The last thing that I have to do to complete my picture is take the white again, I'll turn it this way, and I'm going to do more of the horizontal lines on the ground beneath the horizon. I'm not going over my shadow that I created on the ground in blue, but I want to keep that shadow true blue. Okay, so I've got some horizontal lines, and guess what we need to do? I'm going to wipe my fingers off because we're back in the white. You could even use your other hand, which I think I'm going to do, to blend. But if you have, you know, dark fingers, you don't want to mess up the rest of your paper, so just be mindful of where you're putting your dirty fingers on your paper. So I'm just blending that into the right side with the snow on the ground. Okay, and I like the way that it looks with the little bit of dark and light, where you can see somewhat of the tone of the paper through, but you still get the feeling that it's snow, but it gives it a little bit of movement with a little bit of texture because we didn't do it really solid. We did the horizontal lines that we blended. But if you have any rough spots that you need to go back over, you can, you know, do that to your heart's desire. If you see places that you need to work on a little bit, or if you wanted to add any more decorations to your snowman, you're welcome to do that. And like I said, just kind of clean up. You could go to the trash can and blow any bits into the trash that you know, got on your paper. Eraser will work on chalk and pastels, because I'm showing you right now that I've smeared this a little bit, so I could take my eraser and kind of erase that off. But there's my snowman drawing with a little bit of erasing that needs to be done and a little bit of just blowing it off into a trash can. I wouldn't blow it on anything that is like cloth or something that you don't want to get messy. I hope you enjoyed this winter scene with the snowman. Have a nice day. See you.